Hi folks, my name is Martin and this is my first YouTube video ever and my first foray into talking about city skylines. It's a great game and you can see here I'm just starting a city. There's just a couple of squares of property that I have right now on the go. And down here you'll see one of my connections from a highway to some arterial roads. I'm just learning in this game. I've been playing for just over 500 hours and for a few months, so I'm relatively new to the game. I know there's lots of people out there that's been playing this game for years. So what this video is about is really about what I've learned in the last few months. I just want to share it with others, and that's what I'm going to do today. So, just looking at this particular roundabout. So roundabouts are very efficient in this game, and they're very popular. And they're one of the best connections from a highway to an arterial road. And, to basically get on and off a highway. There are other types of connections, such as diamond interchanges, diverging diamond interchanges, dog bone interchanges. But the roundabout seems to have a lasting efficiency as the volumes get higher, and you can even do some modifications to that as the game goes on. Anyway, that's something I've learned. I think there's a little bit too much reliance on roundabouts and or traffic circles, but the people that play the game call them roundabouts, and so I'll do the same. Um, anyway, that's one of the things I've learned is that it's one of the most efficient connections to a highway. While we're looking at the roundabout, just looking at the landscaping in the middle, something I had to learn was that there's a mod out there called Move It. If you look down here in the right-hand corner, if I click on this, you'll see it has all kinds of features, but one of them is to copy and export and import things that you've already pre-made. So I'm going to import some landscaping that I have for a radius 96 roundabout. So I'll click on import, and you can see it's pre-made, and all I have to do is plop it right down in the middle, as opposed to recreating every single bush and tree every single time. That's just one of the features of that mod Move It. I even had to learn what's the difference between a mod and a DLC. I know that sounds pretty easy for a lot of people out there, but a DLC is downloadable content that's made by the software company that builds and produces City Skylines, and mods are built and produced by the users in the community. Um, Another thing I've learned is, like, if you take a look here, I'll just zero in. So this is a cargo train railway, and this is a passenger railway line. Initially, I would connect the cargo train lines, and there's a cargo train coming in now. I had them together, and I just found that the cargo trains just clogged up the railway lines, and the passenger trains, which move faster, uh, just couldn't get to where they wanted to go. That eventually it just started to clog up, and so I keep them separate. You'll notice here in this particular city there is a water crossing, and you notice I put an arterial road crossing here and one over here, and in addition to this highway crossing. So what I find is if you push all the traffic into the highway crossing, you're going to push them all into an interchange, and that interchange will get clogged up with unnecessary traffic that really is just trying to get from one side to the other. So to give that crossing some relief, I tend to add another crossing that's just for local traffic. Um, Over here, looking at this industrial area here, this is an ore industry area, and you'll see that I'm using one-way roads to manage the traffic. Uh, for whatever reasons, one-way roads seems to work very well in the industrial areas, and if you don't use them and use two-way roads, it just becomes awfully hard to manage the traffic, and I'm not sure why that is. That seems to be the way the AI works. Again, here, this might not be the perfect setup, but you get the idea that I'm using one-way roads to keep the flow of traffic. So I'll just pan out and go over to the other side of my city. So here, if I look right in here, I'm just developing another rail line here. It's an elevated rail line, at least that's the way I've constructed it. So much like you would see in the bigger cities, like the L in Chicago, and I'm sure there's other big cities that have elevated rail lines running through them, just to give it that kind of look and feel. Again, there's another roundabout there, again, to help manage traffic. And here is a mass transit hub. This particular mass transit hub has two monorail lines, two railway lines, and you can't see it, but underneath is a metro or a subway line. So what I'm developing here is this is a bus lane only. So I'll put some bus routes here with some connections so I can basically start connecting folks to this mass transit hub and thereby reduce some of the traffic on the roads in my city. And there's another cargo hub there. We just saw one of the trains go by. This is an oil industry area here that I've been developing. There's some fishing going on. So there's lots of aspects to this game, and managing all these different aspects and making sure your traffic flows and the industries are working. And, I think it's a lot of fun and it makes you think. There's that many parts to it. I guess the way to explain it, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of aspects to the game that you got to consider to make your city work well. So that's about it for now. I'm just talking about the fact that I've started using it, and my interchange here is still working well. That's good. And if I look at my traffic is at 78%. So I think that's pretty good, and I'll try to keep that going as I develop this city. So that's all for now. If you have any comments that you'd like to leave, I'd appreciate it. If you have any tips or hints for me how I can do things better, I certainly want to hear that too. And thanks for watching if you've watched all the way to the end, and I hope to produce some more videos about City Skylines. So we'll talk to you later, and that's all for now.